My God. Whew. Oh, Jesus. I saw the TV glow. Holy shit. Where to start? This movie has me feeling all types of ways. We have a lot to talk about. So this one is an A24 movie, and I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of A24, but there are a lot of movies that they've done that I do particularly like. So at least I think this movie allows for a lot of open interpretation. Throughout it, there's sort of a theme of not knowing where fantasy ends and reality begins, both for the characters and the audience. So the film begins in the 90s, 1996, and it tells a story of a boy named Owen who bonds with a girl named Maddie over a TV show that they both particularly enjoy called The Pink Opaque. And The Pink Opaque is essentially a show that follows two teenage girls that fight monsters together using their psychic powers or psychic connection. So we slowly see Owen and Maddie's realities begin to spiral when this TV show that they bonded over becomes canceled. Um, I think one of the main points of this movie is really to explore how TV and really pop culture in general can be a gateway to understanding ourselves as well as possibly losing ourselves. This story is kind of about identity, and it dives into themes of mental health, projection, loneliness, isolation, and just internal struggle in general. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, and the end is goddamn gutting. Jesus. So let me first get into what I liked about this movie, some positives. Okay, first and foremost, I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised to see the man, the myth, the legend himself playing Owen's father in this film, who only has one line, I believe. Fred Durst. Icon.
It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. Everything is fucked. Everybody sucks.
Okay, for real though, I do love the concept of this movie and how they were able to explore some super deep themes in such a raw way, yet it came across so elegant. I think what makes this film effective is how the writer and director, Jane Schoenbrun, never gave us a definitive answer for anything throughout the whole film. If you want a movie that will give you answers for everything, this is not the one for you. And I think this approach would normally piss me off. But in I Saw the TV Glow, I think the elusiveness is kind of what contributes to the overall mood, and it seriously plays with the audience's emotions successfully. I really like the lead in this movie, Owen, played by Justice Smith. I think he embodied this character seamlessly, and in the last couple of scenes, I thought he was incredible. Speaking of the last couple of scenes, I loved the ending of this movie. It's actually devastating. It's devastating. But it leaves the audience feeling something, which is what I want from a movie. I want to be thinking about a movie days after I watch it, which is exactly what I was doing after I watched this one. I won't give any spoilers, but I did cry at the end, full stop. But I think the ending is brilliantly written, directed, acted, shot, and ultimately solidifies the importance of the film. Moving on to some things I didn't really like about this movie. The film was a little slow for me at times. In the first half of the movie, especially, the pace frustrated me slightly and in turn made the film a little bit boring. This, alongside the dialogue and tempo, was also frustrating at times. For example, there are many conversations between Maddie and Owen where they talk impeccably slow and in a monotone. Too much of this leads to loss of attention. So there are times I was a bit bored with the movie. However, to its credit, I did always get pulled back in eventually. This is a little bit of a nitpick, but I thought the difference between Owen in 7th grade versus Owen in 9th grade was way too massive. Like, I'm supposed to believe that this is the same person only 2 years apart? Yeah, no. Especially considering that the young Owen in real life is 12 years old and the older Owen in real life is 28 years old. I mean, this is far over a 10-year difference, and I thought it was apparent. So this is just kind of a small casting critique, but both Owens were good actors, and I can see why they did cast the two. This one may be a really unpopular opinion, but I did not really care for the character of Maddie in this movie. Obviously, she's vital to the film and the message of it, but I didn't think she was all that relatable. For me, Owen was the one I was more able to relate to and sympathize with. I thought at times Maddie was a little bit too unemotional to the point where she lost me. She also gives a very large monologue, and I hate to say it, it just didn't resonate with me and I didn't particularly like it. So, moving on to giving this movie a rating. This one's actually really hard to rate. Uh, Even looking at Google, it's apparent that this movie is pretty polarizing. For me, I thought it was a work of art. Obviously, it left a big impression on me. That being said, I don't think that this movie is something I would ever rewatch. And I also think this is hard to decipher who to recommend this to because this one takes a little bit of patience. And I don't think it's going to appeal to everybody. I left the theater in tears, but my boyfriend left the theater with no recollection of the last 30 minutes of the film because he fell asleep, if that tells you anything. So, with that in mind, I would give this a 7.5 out of 10. I would recommend it to anyone with the patience to watch it, really take it in, and think about the meaning behind it. It's quite powerful and unique in many ways. Overall, it's a great piece of work by Jane Schoenbrun. So there's my thoughts on I Saw the TV Glow. Hope you enjoyed. What did you guys think about it? Let me know, and catch me next time. Peace.